Welcome to Yes, Genius, a podcast from Epic Marketing that celebrates the power of affirmative thinking. In each episode, we explore the power of saying yes to unexpected opportunities, career changes, even the unknown, and the powerful results. This season, we welcome our speakers and panelists from Social Media Day, Delaware. We hope you enjoy their yes stories and some digital marketing insights.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host for this episode, Jess Burton. Joining me is Randall Law, a multifaceted creative force from Wilmington, Delaware. His career spans acting, entrepreneurship, and community engagement. From appearing in national commercials to captivating audiences on stage, Randall's artistic talents are undeniable. He's been recognized as a 40 under 40 in the Delaware Business Times and with a Spur Impact Award. Beyond his own achievements, Randall is dedicated to empowering others through initiatives like his back-to-school sneaker campaign, 100 Pairs to Give. Welcome, Randall.
Thank you so much, Jess, for having me. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm excited to have you. I feel like it has been a very quick turnaround on meeting you and having a ton of conversations with you, and I'm excited to sit down and get to know more about you.
Well, hey, let's do it.
All right. So I had mentioned earlier, you are a multifaceted artist and entrepreneur, and I'm curious to know how you got where you are today. What's a time when you said yes to an opportunity that completely changed the course of your career or life?
Well, 5 years ago, when I started one of my businesses, Cool Color Kid Generation, um, uh, it came out of watching Netflix. I was watching Netflix, and mind you, I had this idea 16 years ago when I worked for the Los Angeles Film Festival, but it was for a name of a band. So I was the youngest production assistant at the Los Angeles Film Festival, and they had asked me, what would you name a band for shock value? And I simply said KKK. But they were like, hold on. What do you mean KKK? I was like, no, you put a whole bunch of cultures together, and if they're any good, you could potentially make history, and they'll be called the Cool Color Kids. And they were like, that's interesting, but nah, you need to drop that. So fast forward 17 years later. Well, no, it's been 17 years, but I believe 5 years ago, I was watching a Gap commercial, and I saw that, and I saw all these kids bouncing around. I was like, I'll create a kids clothing brand called Cool Colorful Kids. And a friend at the time, he was just like, bro, nobody's going to buy anything that says KKK on it. So I was like, dang, and I don't even know how to make clothes. So I don't even know. So I dropped the idea. Fast forward, I would say a year later, I was watching this documentary on Netflix called Sam Cooke and the KKK. And by seeing that documentary, I mean, it empowered me to say, wow, how could we change the narrative by empowering people, not through clothing, but empowering individuals to create change, not only within themselves, but within their community. And a lot of people were like, you can't change that. And I used to always give them this example. Did you know that the swastika was a symbol of peace? And people would be like, no. And then I give them a little history that Adolf Hitler changed the swastika from a symbol of peace to a symbol of hate. Why can't I change an acronym that's meant to harm people? Well, not necessarily harm people, and then empower people to basically look at the change in it, that you can create change. All of us are saying that we can't change it, but we have the power to create change in every facet around us, if that makes any sense. So that was my yes. And now today, by saying yes, it hasn't been an easy yes, but it's constantly allowed me to go through doors that I've never thought I've been able to walk through.
It sounds like you said a lot of yes to yourself and a lot of yes to your own idea. Because it sounds like you had a lot of external people saying, no, don't do that. Not a great idea. Maybe save it for later.
Not even later. Just don't even no, don't do it.
So obviously you've chosen a very, very hot button letter combination.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you seen the Triple KG create change since you've launched the concept? Because it is a concept. And can you give us an example of how your brand appears in clothing or in culture?
Yes, one thing where I saw it tremendously create change is where I have a pair of sneakers, and it's called the Global Kid Generation Ones, and it's basically showing different flags, different cultures on this sneaker in representation with our branded logo on it, and just to see so many people walk down the street that are from different countries and they see their flag on this sneaker and they're just because some people when they see their flag they feel like they're visible, that it's just not just one culture representation, it's multiple cultures. And I believe a friend, they're in Kenya right now, and they took a pair of those sneakers over to Kenya, and they said that you wouldn't believe the faces on these kids and adults just seeing an American walk over here with a flag of theirs wearing it, and it just resonates with so many different people, to just find different ways to think outside of the box in a creative way.
I love that. I think especially when you look at least in the US, minority cultures, you don't always see those different minorities represented. And for
Mhm,
kids to be able to see themselves represented in something that they maybe hadn't seen before is such a simple thing that has so impactful.
mhm, mhm.
Have you, out of curiosity, has anyone famous, either locally or nationally, worn any of your?
Yes, there are multiple ones, and that's one thing that I did encounter when I was first coming up. I always thought I had to, because I do know famous people, um, which won't be named. Some of them from the jump was just like, "I'm not touching that, Randall." And then, but the crazy thing is that now they're reaching out to me. They're like, "Yo, I'm loving the consistency and the persistence that you are putting behind this. How can I support you?" So there has been, I would name Kenny Brooks, which is he's a comedian, and he also he mentions me and he wears some things in it. Who else? Um, I'm trying to think of other names. Well, I just gave Urkel. Well, I shouldn't say Urkel. Jalil White. I had thought as soon as they tapped me for the event, I thought to make a custom shirt for him, putting our iconic mascot, Cool World mascot, aka Cooley, in this mask. Well, basically a Urkel somewhat posed with his glasses on it, and you can tell that it's Urkel. But instead of saying "Family Matters," it says "Unity Matters," and then on the back it says, "Did Cooley do that?"
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is seriously amazing. Um, so it's funny you mentioned that interview because that was my next question.
Mhm.
Um, because who else can say that they got to interview Jaleel White
Mhm.
in like a local library nonetheless?
Right.
So that obviously has popped up because of the chance you've taken.
Mhm.
Have you had any other kind of unexpected opportunities pop up because of this leap of yes you've taken to create the Triple KG?
Oh, multiple opportunities to not only just go into schools, but potentially we're going to be taking 100 Pair to Give on tour. And that's not just throughout Delaware, but I have a potential opportunity to take it to Atlanta, Georgia. And it's going to be my dream is to take it nationwide to different schools, and then do some other things that are still in the planning phase. But just by saying yes and seeing all these big businesses that want to attach themselves to it, like WISFIS, Memorial Children's Health, Stepping Stones Federal Credit Union, Nerded Cares, Main Event. Um, just by seeing a whirlwind of people, well, not people, institutions that you wouldn't even think that would want to attach themselves to something like this, are really seeing the change and the value behind it, in which I'm not just creating by myself, but also by empowering the community to be a part of this as well. It takes them to in order for this to take flight, because it's not just a one man show. It takes a community of individuals that believe in it as well.
That's amazing. And especially
Mm,
to have organizations that are very local to get behind you and be willing to kind of to help push you to the next level is such a
mm,
great thing to have.
Hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about your 100 Pairs to Give campaign?
Yes. So 100 Pair to Give is basically an initiative. What I thought of, and I would say I'm not going to know the year. I believe it was 20. It's 2024 now. So 2022, I believe. 22. This was the third year. So 2021, I believe. Um, when I created the sneakers, I know I'm from Wilmington, Delaware. I grew up in Southbridge, which is not a good part of Wilmington. And I know when I would visit when I lived in Los Angeles and when I would come back around and see what has happened to the community in which I was brought up in, houses knocked down, and I saw so many uninspired youth. And I stated, I was just like, how can take my talents, gifts, and abilities and empower not just youth, but also adults from where I'm from? How can I empower them? So I said, okay, so I created these pair of sneakers. Okay, so how can I empower youth to not just say, hey, look at the sneakers I created, but also put a pair of sneakers in their hands and say, if he did it, then I can do it. So what talent can I take back to not only my community, but share it with individuals and say, hey, it's your turn. Go out and create something and put it back into the community. So I thought about 100 Pairs to Give, which is an initiative, like I stated, to empower youth through not just through clothing, but also by bringing in different celebrities that's from Delaware to come back in and empower them kids, to let them know that, hey, I was you, I am you, and that you can make a difference not only with your life, but also in the community that you're still in.
That is amazing. I'm always in awe of people who don't forget where they come from, because I do feel like there are a good amount of people who forget where they come from and forget
Hmm.
about the local area.
Hmm.
Um, so you have a lot of amazing things going on, and I'm
Hmm.
assuming that you aren't always creating by yourself. So do you have a team of people or people who help influence your decisions that you kind of trust and really lean on?
To be honest with you, there's a small team of it, but I hate to say this, a lot of it comes from me just either traveling, seeing different forms of art, diving in. I'm a big nerd when it comes to like Discovery Channel, learning about different cultures. So that's my next push to really ingrain different cultures in the brand more deeply, to like really hire designers that are in those specific cultures to bring the essence of that culture in, and not just from my perspective, but from their perspective as well, to where we can identify truly of what they like, their colors, the essence that what makes them them.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that, like, customizable factor
Yeah.
that you kind of take into it. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's so important. So looking more into you and thinking about like your family and friends, who are the three most influential people in your life?
Well, I would say my mother, my grandmother, and a handful of community leaders that have continued to push me even in my darkest times in life. So, would you like me to go in deep about those three, or just want to know the three? I can go deep though.
As far as you want to talk about, I know some people like to keep stuff private and some people are
No,
like, I
I'll
wear
talk
everything
about
on
it.
my
I mean,
sleeve.
my mother, you have to think about it. My mother had me at the age of 16. I'm 41. I know I don't look like it, but my mom had me at the age of 16, and she had three kids, and she had three kids by the age of 19. And she was in an abusive relationship. My father was an alcoholic. My dad used to hang me over bridges as a kid and things of that nature. So my mom, she did a lot for us, and to be able to come out of that, which is considered the ghetto, and then get herself through high school, and then take herself to college, get her master's, work for Ross Perot, just like really making a life for herself, minus the circumstances that she had to go through to get to that point. And it's just seeing the strength in a woman or anybody that goes through like crazy amounts of things in their lives to see where they actually want to be, well, get to where they actually want to be and they see themselves, and then overcome all those obstacles. It's just like, wow, like, I don't know if I could have did that. But I look at it now, it was just like, that's amazing to see. My grandmother, which is 94 now, to see her, she only has a third grade education. Her mother died when giving birth to her, which my great grandmother, she was a Native American. So, and then her father died, I would say 2 years after that. So then, her oldest sister had to raise her, I believe it was in Chicago. And then a year after that, her brother died. So she was left to, in those times, with a third grade education, they went straight to work. So my grandmother, from, I would say, from a young age now until 94, still living with a third grade education, still made a way for my biological father and the 7 kids that she had, to just really create the kid in me, because my mom having me at a young age, I was with my grandma majority of the time. So she's like my best friend. We still laugh and joke, and it's just being able to be the person that I am and the personality I have. A lot of it stems from her, because she's a big jokester, and she, no teeth and all, smiling with all these gums, and you just like, please close your mouth. Uh, she still has that personality that still light up a room even at 94. So she's one of my biggest heroes in life as well. And just like I said, so many different community leaders, with not only just in Delaware, but all the states that I've had an opportunity to live in. They still make time for me to empower me and inspire me as well.
If I have learned anything about like interviewing people for this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
it's that moms and grandmothers and motherly figures do so much work as moms and grandmothers and motherly figures to create amazing human beings.
But hold on, hold on, Jess? When I stated those community leaders, it was a mixture of men and women, because there was a lot of men, because my father wasn't around, that really gave me a foot in my behind to let me know that this is not the way you need to go, my friend. You have to shape up, or you will be either dead or in jail. So it was a lot of men that actually like took a hold of me, not just physically, but also mentally, and really catered to the mindset that I had at the time, and really shaped um, the men that I wanted to be. Like, when my father wasn't around, and in order to dream about the man I wanted to be, I would go to the Barnes and Nobles. At the time, it was called Borders. I think it was called Borders Books and More, I believe. And I would go to the men's section and look at men's health. Like, I taught myself how to shave. I taught myself how to dress. A lot of the stuff that I saw, well, the men that empowered me, I look to those magazines and those books that help shape, okay, what is the man that I want to be in this world? So as I'm still growing and learning and achieving and things of that nature, I'm still aspiring to be an even better man now that, my 4-year-old daughter, my 18-year-old daughter. So those are the things that keep me wanting to be better, as well as my lady as well.
So would you say that making a difference in your community is something that, or not even just your community, just in someone's life, is something that kind of drives you on this path of life, so to speak?
It empowers me, because my background, I'm a special ed kid. I was a special education student because I was born, I'm an 80s baby. So back in those days, when you had a disability, I was born deaf in my left ear. When you had a disability, they didn't care whether you were smart or not. If you had a disability, you were placed in special education. So mind you, throughout my life, when I was in those classes, remember my first time being in it, and the teacher asked, why are you in here? Could you imagine a fifth grader like hearing that, why are you in here? And you're sitting here like, why am I in here? Because majority of people, when I looked around, they were physically handicapped. And it put a bruise in my self-esteem growing up, because I was just like, okay, I got you calling me smart, but I got all the kids calling me stupid because I'm in a class and they're physically people that are handicapped. So that's considered slow or stupid. And where am I going with this? Had a brain fart. But yeah, with being in those classes and things of that nature, it did a dent on my self esteem, and that's where the empowerment comes in because just seeing people that do not have the resources or people that do have the resources, it doesn't matter whether you have the resources or not. Everyone needs empowerment in some way, shape, or form.
100%. Absolutely. I feel like we've only been chatting for like 20 minutes and I feel like I have a million more questions for you.
Let's go.
So I know that like we've talked a lot about like where you've come from, what you've been able to do so far.
Mhm.
And I know that the Triple KG is kind of really starting to really take off.
Mhm.
What are your long-term goals and aspirations? Are there any projects that you are looking to get off the ground? Are there any things that we should be looking for in 2025 and beyond?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to. I partnered with Nemours with this mascot that I created called Cool World Mascot, aka Cooley, and I have so many different things that I'm working towards right now. We're talking about a book, talking about animation, we're talking about a TV show, a tour potentially of Nemours hospitals, and more. None of that is set in stone at this time, but those are definitely in the works. And then definitely working with other big name brands that I've considered potentially working with, and that's about it that I have right now. I don't want to jinx anything.
Fair.
There are a lot of other things, but they're still in the building phase. And then also
Fair.
with 100 Pair to Give, I definitely want to take that on a tour where I'll be able to go to different cities and bring celebrities that are from those cities into the 100 Pair to Give factor to factor those different individuals in. And they don't necessarily have to be celebrities. They could be community leaders. They could be different people that just bring a great sense of empowerment to their area of the world. And then also my ultimate goal, the Olympics.
Oh, see, I love that one. That's like the long-term goal.
That's my ultimate goal.
I think that there is something to be said about like local celebrities. I think that sometimes they have a little bit more pull than like the national ones. I love a good local celebrity sighting. So you have a lot of diverse creative things happening. How do you balance all of these different things? Do you have any tips, tricks, or are you just like, I don't balance them well?
You know what? It's kind of tricky because having a background in entertainment, because I also edit, content create, I'm a jingle writer. So there could be times where I'm just like, why am I doing this to myself? Why? But then there's always those times that's why I'm doing it. But I'm still learning the whole balance thing. There was a point where I gave up on balance because I was like, there's no such thing. There's just really no such thing because I had this mindset of if you want to achieve great things, you have to do sometimes the craziest stuff. But I'm still, as I can continue to still do self improvement and things of that nature, working on my health goals and things of that nature. I'm always trying to find ways to better myself. So until I get to that point of balance, I'm just going to say I'm continuing to work on it.
As long as you have the energy, more power to you.
I do, but I don't. I do, but I don't. It's weird because it's like I have this 4-year-old that still keeps me up, and even though she goes to bed early, she still like to wake up and say strange stuff like, "Hey, Daddy, can I have a hug?" And I'm just like, "Go to bed, little girl." But I still give her a hug. She's just like, sometimes I catch her looking at me like, "You are the funniest, weirdest person I know." Because I'm like a big kid. So she's like, Dad, like, wow. And sometimes the darnest things that'll come out of her mouth will really just be like, oh my God, my baby's growing up. It's weird. It's crazy like that.
It sounds like you've got like the full parenthood experience happening.
Yeah. Full blown.
So the next part of our podcast is a little bit of this or that showdown. We met through Social Media Day Delaware, where you
Mhm.
were our inaugural MC, and I am very grateful for that. And
Thank
I
you
know
for
that you
having me.
have a
I
background.
appreciate you.
I know you have a background in performing, so we're going to test some of your quick wit and showmanship with a very quick game of this or that.
Let's go.
Based on being an MC. And then we'll roll right into some rapid fire questions. So you have
Let's
to
go.
kind of say the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay.
So, this or that. Do you prefer rehearsing alone or collaborating with others?
Rehearsing alone.
Do you, when it comes to stage presence, do you like to command the stage with a powerful voice or captivate the audience with subtle gestures?
Powerful voice.
When it comes, do you prefer to engage the audience from the stage or venture out into the audience, wherever they may be?
It depends on the host. If they want me to engage them outside, off the stage, I'll do it. But the stage, I'll do the stage.
Very good to know. When it comes to event format, do you prefer a gala dinner or an energizing conference?
Energizing conference.
For your onstage wardrobe, do you prefer something that's classic and timeless or something that's bold and trendy?
Bold and trendy.
And then for a post MC performance ritual, do you prefer quiet reflection or a celebratory dinner?
Quiet reflection.
Sometimes after big events, I need to like sit in my car in silence while I drive home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's like, okay, what did I accomplish? Did I exceed my expectations? But then after that good little minute, I'll do a nice dinner.
You need to have kind of like a check-in with yourself about like
Yeah.
the things that happened, that a little debrief.
To take it in, because sometimes like you're not taking anything in. You're not sitting from the person that's coming to the conference. So then you're just like, okay, all right, cool. All right, that was
Exactly.
good. That was fun. Yeah.
Did you have any like aha moments after social media day as you were like debriefing with yourself?
Aha moments. You know what was that? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So much has transpired in those 3 weeks
You've
that,
been busy.
yeah, busy. So I know I had a few. I don't have my journal right in front of me because usually I just journal after everything I do. So we're gonna have to come back to that. Maybe I have to whip out the journal for that one.
I love that. I love that you have a journal to keep all of your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
To moving to the next part, we got rapid fire section, and these are just about you. They're
Okay.
not about anything in particular.
Okay.
So what is your favorite color?
Blue.
What was your first job?
A janitor.
Name one subject you would like to learn more about.
Psychology.
What is a good spy code name for you?
Why can't you see me? I'm standing right here.
And then finish this phrase. The best advice I ever received was...
Start small.
That's a good one. That is some good advice. So the final segment is kind of we like to ask Chat GPT or Chatbot, whatever chatbot of the moment is
I can't
hot
wait
enough
to
and
hear
coming.
this.
Kind of an idea for something. So we asked it that, given your experience as an entertainer, we asked it to come up with a TV series title for you. So if you were to have your own TV show, what they thought the title should be. So we have some for a reality show and we have some for more fictional show. And given your name is Randall Law, I bet you could probably guess the way some of these leaned.
Right.
So for a reality show, here's what they came up with. The Law's the Limit, a high-energy variety show hosted by Randall Law, featuring music, comedy, and celebrity interviews. That's the first one.
That's dope.
This second one is Modern Renaissance Man, a docu-series following Randall's life as he balances his acting career, entrepreneurship, and community activism.
Those were both dope shows.
And
I will watch them.
The third reality show that it came up with was Randall Law's Next Big Thing, a reality competition show where Randall mentors up-and-coming talent in the entertainment industry.
I might have to save those ideas.
We'll send them to you. And then it came up with 2 fictional shows.
Mm-hmm.
So Randall's Law of Comedy, a sitcom about a stand-up comedian navigating the ups and downs of the comedy scene. And The Law of Attraction, a romantic comedy about an entrepreneur who uses the power of positive thinking to find love and success in his community.
Wow. So you did that on AI and it came up with those things?
Yes, we put your bio in and your name and asked it to come up with some TV show ideas.
That is crazy.
Now, do you have a personal favorite of all of those?
It was so many. All of them. All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
I really liked the I mean, as someone who is definitely like a frequent Hallmark movie watcher, I really liked The Law of Attraction, a romantic comedy about an entrepreneur who's
romantic comedy does sound dope though.
I feel like a romantic comedy is right up your alley, but I also feel like the one that is The Law is the Limit, a high energy variety show hosted by Randall Law featuring music, comedy, and celebrity interviews.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
dope.
also right up your alley.
Yeah, that's dope right there. I like that one. I might have to create a pilot.
I'll just send you the list.
Please do. Please do. I might have to sprinkle that into the universe. See what happens.
Who knows? Like, you could use it for your book title, for your autobiography one day.
This is true. This is true.
You never know. Well, Randall, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing all of those parts of your story. I'm so glad that we were able to have you as a part of Social Media Day Delaware. And I can't wait to see what the next year has in store for you, because it sounds like you've got a lot going on. You've got a lot coming your way. Mm-hmm. If people would like to connect with you, Cooley, 100 Pairs to Give, where can they find you and all of these amazing things you're doing?
Okay, so Cool Color Kid KKKG is coolgeneration.com. That's with a K. You can find me on @the_Rand_Law on IG and Facebook. You can find Cooley at Cool World Mascot on IG, and you can find 100 Pair to Give. It's 100 Pairs, the number 2, and GIV on Facebook and Instagram. And you can find me on LinkedIn, Randall Law.
People can find you everywhere and anywhere.
I'm trying not to be everywhere though.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I really appreciate you giving up your afternoon to chat with us.
Nah, anytime. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Yes Genius, a podcast from Epic Marketing. Join us again to hear more unique stories. In the meantime, find us on social media or online at epicmc2.com. You can also connect with Delaware's digital community at socialmediadayde.com. Don't miss out. Remember to follow or subscribe wherever you get your genius content.